Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests joining us this morning.
Yes, indeed.
We have Erica Ford and Andre and Norman. Welcome.
Good morning, good morning.
Peace, Kings.
How are y'all? How are you, Miss Ford?
Fabulous.
Okay. How are you, Dre?
Doing wonderful, man. Definitely doing wonderful. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Well, they're here because Andre has an initiative called the Academy of Hope. Tell us what the Academy of Hope is, brother.
The Academy of Hope is a program that's designed to help prison violence. In South Carolina a few years ago, 7 brothers lost their lives. And in response, the director of South Carolina Department of Corrections, Brian Sterling, brought us in because he wanted to decrease the violence. So we got all the leaders of all the different organizations in South Carolina and said we have to stop this. We put them in one unit, the heads of all the different organizations, and they agreed to a peace treaty. And they've been building and learning how to do interventions and help each other first get along and then carry it out to the population. And it was probably like 6 months ago, one of the brothers saved a lieutenant's life from being murdered.
So how did you start those conversations with those brothers locked up?
I mean, we went in, the entire prison system was locked down for 5 months after the riot. And we came in, they opened the doors. I said, look, you got to let them out. They wanted me to talk like one door at a time. I'm like, that's stupid. I said, man, let these brothers out. They've been locked down for 5 months. When they came out, we talked what was good for them. What about your family? What about your future? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to get out of here? Because I got one of my homies that was with me. He did 29 years. And we flipped his case and got him out. He's like, listen, man, let's do law work. Let's not worry about contraband. You know what I'm saying? Let's do paralegal stuff versus hustling on the yard. And we talked to them about their freedoms, about their family. And that's what the Academy of Hope is about.
Now, Andre, can we talk about your background and why this is something that's important to you in particular?
It's important to me because I spent 14 years locked in a cell. I had a 100-year sentence. I had a total of 100 years. And I was inside doing what I do, 6 cases, shipped around the country, doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing, representing, getting the name. And I woke up one day and I realized I was a king of nowhere. And I had the bag, I had the respect. I was the king of nowhere. And I said, this ain't it. I said, well, I want to do something different. And the first thing I did is looked at the people who went home, white, black, Spanish, Asian. Nobody went home and stayed home. I said, freedom don't work. I need successful. So I said, I'm going to go home, be successful, and go to Harvard University. Everybody thought I was crazy. They said, nigga, you can't go to Harvard. They said, you can't read. You know what I'm saying? All you do is you in the hole for trying to just all the time. But I didn't care what nobody said. I taught myself to read, taught myself to law, went back to court, went to programs, and for the next 8 years, I worked on myself. And I had mentors in my life, and I got out of jail, and I got a Harvard fellowship now. I've worked at the White House. I've been at London Business School for 20 years, and I worked around the world with tons of people, and I could not go back.
Right.
I've been going back since 90 minutes after I got out of prison, Parole Office Youth Center, doing the work. That's why me and Erica connected, because we do the work.
And that's what's so important, too, because you talk about your background also and what even led you to ending up in prison and just kind of how you were raised and what you saw and what you thought was normal growing up.
For me, I went to prison not because people didn't love me, not because the neighborhood was bad, not even because schools were bad. I went to jail and to prison because my father taught me how to quit. When he walked out on us, he taught me quitting was okay. And so everything in my life, music, sports, leadership, I quit. And it left me all positives gone, left me only negatives. So I went to jail for being a quitter.
Well, how you don't decide to quit after getting sentenced to 100 years? That's why. So the fact that your organization is called the Academy of Hope, like you had to have some type of hope even back then, because 100 years, Lord have mercy.
When you get off the bus, the big homies pull you up and you get into the flow. I wanted to go to school, wanted to go to learn how to be a forklift driver, and they were like, yo, man, that ain't the life up in here. They taught me the life in prison, and I rode with that. And it wasn't even about doing 100 years, it was about staying alive today. And that day-to-day grind, just 6 years later, I done been shipped to 9 different states. I got kicked out of Massachusetts, kicked out of this one, kicked out of the feds. I was in Terre Haute in the 80s when it was a gladiator school. And people just get murdered every day. And you just get into that groove. It's like dudes who hustle. You get into that groove. You got enough money. Why are you still hustling? You got into that groove, and it's like.
How old were you when you got sentenced to the 100?
18.
Okay, great. Not great, but did you realize what 100 years was? Because I sometimes think these kids don't know what them numbers is when they get sentenced, man.
No. You don't even think about it because the math doesn't make sense. You just like, okay. You get off the bus. For me, it was a reunion of all my friends from the dummy class. It was a reunion of all my friends from juvenile probation. A reunion of all my friends who got kicked out of school. It was just a big reunion. And everybody's there not focusing on reality. They're still living in the fantasy world of Oz. Like, this is cool. And for 6 years, it was cool. I had fun. I ain't gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, fun.
But you did like 2
what was
years in
fun?
solitary, right?
Yeah, what
I
was
did
fun?
2.5 years in
Yeah,
solitary.
what was fun about that? Like,
It's-
what's fun about all that?
It's like, what's fun about being on the block at 3 o'clock in the morning selling crack?
That's real.
Dudes do it. What's fun about getting up every single day and coming to work? Dudes do it. I mean, you get into the lifestyle and you think you're making moves. But the only thing is you ain't moving up the ladder. This ain't a corporate job. It's they put you in the tailspin, so you wake up, you realize, damn, I'm 16 years in. My homie walked up, he was 25 years in. They had him on Florence ADX locked down. And it's like, you get into it's a mindset.
What do you say to kids that grow up and they always say, I had no other way to do it. I had to do this. I was stuck. This is my environment. This is my area. This is all I can do.
I believed you up until right now. It was all you can do until right now. See, now you have Life Camp, now you have Academy of Hope, now you have other programs that are going to show you how to make that transition. So, yeah, I believed you. Up until right now, all you knew was trauma, all you knew was negativity, all you knew was the hustle. Now, do you really want to change?
Yeah, think about how some people never leave their neighborhood and they don't even know like what they could be capable of or see other things, because when you grow up, you're so used to being in this like, a few blocks of where you grew up. You're so used to the people that are around you, and you don't even see like what your life could potentially be.
And some people's parents are stuck in that cycle.
Yeah.
So their kids get stuck in the cycle, and their parents, block their children's ability to fly high. And it's like you have to. It's like you're fighting for the mindset of a whole community, and that's why we address violence as a public health crisis, because you have to help people heal and transform. You have to change mindset, because what we're doing is not rocket science. We care about people. The people who own these institutions and create the environment for us not to, because every community, when you cross a certain line, it's fundamentally different. The stores are different. The food is different. The school learning is different.
The lights are different.
The lights is different. The
Street lamps.
street, there's no sidewalk. Everything is different. And so how do you have to expose people to the world outside their block, right? And let them know that there's hope and opportunity on the outside. I was when I first met Andre and saw that he was a brother, because we hire credible messengers. Most of the folks that we hire are formerly incarcerated men and women. And Andre is like he breaks the mold also of that you just gotta be you. Like, you gotta be that OG, like always ignorant, like, no, you don't. Like, and so there's Andre and another brother from Chicago, Dr. Chico, they receive, and a lot of folks are receiving their doctrine, going further to now we have influenced the White House to put $5 billion, we talked about it last time we were here, in the infrastructure bill. And that would help us provide more programming and service and really build an industry around violence prevention. Just like when the hip hop industry, the music industry first started, we're looking to do the same thing with this industry.
Why are organizations like Academy of Hope so important, Eric?
It's important because you got to reach these folks, and they need access to people like Andre to give them the ability to understand that they could do it too. Because, me coming up to them is like, yeah, but you ain't never did what we did. It's like they say all the time, right? But he could say, like, I not only did it, I excelled beyond it. And he still makes a whole lot of money doing what he does, so you don't have to be a herb or a bum or whatever it is that people think it is. You could be very successful doing this work, and that's what people need to see. That's why I talk a lot of time to artists and celebrities about making this work cool, because if we're not on the Breakfast Club, we don't exist.
Right.
If we're not hanging out with somebody who got a rep,
Born day. Today's my born day.
Oh, happy born day,
No,
man.
I'm kidding. I'm on the Breakfast Club.
We were like, hey, happy birthday.
She is nuts. Gemini's in the building.
We see a lot of people talking about prison reform, a lot of celebrities, and you've been doing the actual work for such a long time. So you have seen a lot of progress, would you say? Because we have a lot left to do, but you do have hope for that.
Yes, I do have hope. But a lot of people talk loud. They're not really doing a lot, and they get the access to the resources because they talk loud and they have the camera and they have the microphone. But a lot of people who are doing real quality work, like if we put millions of dollars into stuff, that we've been doing the same stuff that he's talking about here in Rikers too. And then Rikers is different because they changed the administration, and so they stopped the program. right? So now there's no program, and there's a whole lot of fighting between correction officers and inmates in Rikers now. They need to put the programs back that work. Like this is a lot of society is backwards. Stuff that works, they don't invest in. Stuff that don't work, they invest in.
I was going to ask, how did the prison administration contact you guys, and how was that? Because it feels like a lot of times you would just think that the prison administration doesn't want to hear what we think works, and they just want to try their own thing, whether it's more police or more officers in there. So how did that conversation happen?
Most people go with what they know. That's just the standard. You know, whether it's policing, whether it's DA, whatever, they go with, you know, if it's the homies, you get more homies. I was at a conference speaking, and when I finished speaking, a lady named Nina Staley walked up to me. She was a director of programs from South Carolina. She said, that was a wonderful speech, but can you actually do that? I said, what do you mean? She said, we just had 7 brothers die and 30 people wounded, and we've been locked down for 5 months. We don't have an answer. Can you be our answer? And at first, I was like, I'm busy. I'm like, lady, I'm a motivational speaker. I make 10 racks of speech. I'm flying around the world. Catch me in December. It was August. And she said, where's your commitment to the work? Canceled my whole schedule. 7 days later, I was in South Carolina, called the homies, and 3 of us went in there. And we spoke at 10 prisons over 6 days to 8,000 people.
Were you nervous that they weren't going to be receive you guys well?
Nah, if I can't get along no place, I get along in the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? I got no worry about going to the penitentiary because I grew up there. I speak that language. Once I start talking, they're like, oh, he from
They
here.
know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got thousands of people who talk to work, but I got literally my brother right now, Dominic Williams, 29 years, wall to wall, is in South Carolina prison right now at Lee Correctional, doing the work.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? We got brothers inside, Tracy Fant, South Carolina freedom fighter, inside today doing the work. I got Sean Henley out of South Side of Chicago, inside today doing the work. If I wasn't here, I'd be at the prison. This was supposed to be yesterday. When you bumped it, I said, yo, they're like, yo, Dre, go rep us. You know what I'm saying? I'm here not to rep Andre Norman. I'm here to rep the brothers from South Carolina who were inside, you know what I'm saying, trying to be heard. Like, they're doing great stuff.
How do we put this program in every prison?
How do you put this program in every prison? It's a conversation either with the governor, the president, you know what I'm saying, the people, or the director of corrections. And we just go in. I mean, I've had corrections officers. I met with the guy, brother who runs New York, you know what I'm saying, 2 weeks ago. It's just about networking. It's who you know. It's not what you do.
I would think that people would listen to you too because 100 years you did 14. Like, did you learn something? Did you learn the legal system, or did you get out on appeal?
No, my case is in the books. No, you go Commonwealth versus Andre Norman, I'm in the books. You know what I'm saying? I had 100 years worth of time. I was supposed to do 28. You know what I'm saying? I flipped and gave back like 10 or 12 of them, and I made parole. So it wasn't like it wasn't all consecutive, but it was 100 years worth of time.
Got you.
And when I came home, when I was inside, I started studying. That's the greatest place to study. There's no greater place to study than the penitentiary because your focus is on. So I come from a world of get it right or die. When I was hustling inside, it was get it right or die. When I started studying, I had the same attitude. And I learned the things I needed to learn. When I came home, I was waiting for this expert to pop up and just say, yo, you don't know nothing about this work, and this embarrassed me. But I would go places, and nobody knew about the penitentiary because they'd never been. They read a book, somebody told them about it, some intern did a story, they'd never been. We go inside. We don't sit outside with I got niggas people who hold signs. We go behind the walls, and we sit with people in their cells, in their pain, and we help them heal. Because if you don't help them heal, they'll never grow.
What rights do incarcerated individuals have when it comes to corrections officers being abusive toward them? Do you feel like helpless about that, or what can somebody do if they're being mistreated?
You're being mistreated. You can file a grievance, but a grievance goes back to the same cycle. I mean, the whole correction system, it's like saying what rights of a slave have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You own the plantation, end the story. It's slavery 2021. So I'm not going to try to dress it up because I worked there. Prison is slavery.
That's right.
You know
13th Amendment.
Oh, that's it, 13th Amendment. Unless you commit a crime, you can force to work free labor. It's not built for compassion. It's not built for, rebirthing people. It's built to punish.
What does that healing look like, Erica? The healing Dre was talking about.
The healing looks like one of the things that we used to do in the prison is fight with them around the diet of the folks, right? We used to do yoga with them inside, and we were in the worst unit here in New York City, and so they were in cages, right? And we would do yoga in the cage with them. We would do meditation with them on a day-to-day basis. We would have them do different kind of readings and understanding about this is not you. This doesn't define you where you are. And healing, like you got to let go of what brought you here. What is the pain and the trauma that you were dealing with that caused you to do that crime or caused you to do? Because the first thing is keeping folks out of prison, right? And then if they go into the prison, then allow us to work with them to transform them so that they come back to society a whole new person. And in terms of just what people can do in terms of support is you got to contact the people outside. You got to have advocates that can raise the attention of what's going on inside the prison to bring attention to it so that they can get relief. Because if nobody knows, then it's going to go on and on and on. And a lot of people are being violated in prisons. A lot of people are serving time for crimes that everyone knows they didn't commit. It's a business. And in order for the business to stay running, you need people in there. And so that's the flip side of the work, Really, I would love to close all the prisons and allow us to really help our people heal. Give us big estates and compounds that have land and opportunity to expose them to something different. Because a lot of young kids you see picking up guns now, that's their pain. They committing, to me, some of them are committing suicide, because they don't want to live, because they think that they have no hope, because everything in front of them is quitting, is failure, is death, is, abuse, is trauma, and generational trauma brings generational pain. And that's what you see a lot of times in these kids. And that's what happens when they, because when he talks about his father quit, that's a pain of a man leaving you that you thought was supposed to be with you for your whole entire life. So he can say it. And I see him when he's talking to his father. I see the pain still there today. He might try to laugh out of it, but, it's still
called me
there.
this morning.
Yes, he did.
He's like, I ain't seen you in 5 years.
Wow.
I don't want to go on Dad. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dad in Connecticut.
Yes.
But I brought my son up here. She's done yoga with my son. And the thing I was inside the other day, my son wrote me a letter when he was flying home. He lives in London. And he wrote me a letter, said that he's proud of me and that he loves me. And he read my book for the first time. And he's like, yo, Dad, I didn't know you went through that. I just thought we was like rich our whole life and this how life was.
Wow.
I'm like, and he wrote me that letter. I read the letter to the brothers inside and I cried as I read it. I'm like, dude, it took me 14 years to get this breakthrough. You got to hold your line, man. I said, I couldn't go against the family. I had to put up with some stuff that I knew I was right on, that I knew I could speak to. But he's 12, he's 8, he can't understand. So I had to take it on the chin and just wait for my victory. And my victory came last Monday. And I told him, I said, it took me 14 years to get to that point where my son said, Dad, I love you and I'm proud of you and I get it.
Was there a reason why you didn't tell him beforehand?
You go through stuff and you don't want to ever confuse an 8-year-old by telling them, okay, you were told this, but it's really that. You were told that because it's just going to do more harm than good. So I said, something? I got to take that. I'm the man. I got to just take it on the chin in the interest of his mental health and well-being and just be the bad guy for a little while or let that story float for a little while because the day's going to come. I don't have to be right today when he's 7. I don't have to be right today when he's 12. If I want him to be long-term healthy, then I got to take this. I got to carry this because I'm his dad. And he made it through and I got my victory.
Wow.
Erica, when you talk about the main things to try to keep people out of prison, period, right? I want you to also look back in retrospect. Are there things that you feel like could have helped you so that you didn't go to prison? Because I think there's a lot of people who are struggling with their own kids right now that are like, I don't know what to do. I can see the path that my child is headed on and I don't know how to help.
First thing for parents, ask for help. I mean, don't be overwhelmed. Don't be embarrassed. That's one of the biggest things I run into because I work with white parents, Spanish parents, black parents, and they're scared. They're embarrassed to ask for help. Like I can't control or govern my own child. And for people who want to be helpful, every gang member, every criminal, every whoever, drug dealer, drug addict is sitting right now in a K1. He's 7 years old with dirty socks and he looks, his hair's messed up. If you go give him a sandwich and a hug and some clean socks, he'll do whatever you ask him to do. Kids right now in K1 are just looking for love and look for something to eat, and they're not getting it. It's not till they're 18 years old with a gun in their hand, then we come in. But you need to go down to the K1 and K2s and get them before they turn. Because they sitting there right now, and everybody's ignoring them.
What you think, Aaron?
when he said the thing about being right, there's parents. I never gave birth to any kids. I got 1,000 of them though, right? Parents have to be their child's parent. Too many parents want to be their child's friend, want to be the homie, want to hang out with their kids, smoke weed with their kids, and you have to understand the impression that you're putting upon that child. You're putting too much burden and responsibility on a child to understand and navigate adulthood, without guidance and supervision and rules and regulations. And then when they get into a situation, then they stuck. And you like, what, why you, what? No, this came into being. It didn't just happen today. And so, and oppression brings that. I don't want to, make it like our community is guided towards failure. It's guided towards a mindset of mediocrity, of ignorance. I heard y'all talking about that brother when I was walking in here, and there was a whole conversation for the last couple of weeks about WAC 100 and 6ix9ine, right? And many people got into that conversation. And I said to one of those people who got into the conversation, I said, if a police walked up to you and said those same words or called you out of your name, are you going to respond to them? And they were like, no. I said, so why are you responding to a police out of uniform? I said, a lot of things are set up in our community, in our culture, to take us off our square, get distracted from what we're supposed to do, and get victimized, right? One way or another. People could get into a fight, get shot and killed. I'm from Jamaica, Queens. I know what happened when Rick Ross and 50 Cent had a beef. I know what happened when Ja Rule and 50 Cent had a beef. I know what happened in our community a lot of times when different people have beefs. It trickles down to neighborhoods, right? And people don't see that. They don't see that, right? And so I know it's a long thing, but the avenue is we gotta take care of our kids. We gotta take care, and we gotta ask for help. We gotta support help. I don't do this because I'm trying to be famous. I'm not doing it for money. If I was, people tell me all the time I'm stupid, right? Because I could be making money. I could be what is ever famous, whatever that is, right? But that's not my intention or my purpose here in this world. It is to give the tools to the people and connect people so that you have an opportunity that you thought and break this system down, because it is killing us mentally and emotionally more than anything else, and our kids can't deal with the mental destruction, right? They can't deal with it. So when you talk about trauma and get help, they don't even know how to get help. And so they're getting help smoking a blunt, drinking whatever it is they drink, popping pills. And then everybody got a gun now. It's a system that's set up for us to fail. And there's gotta be so many other ways for us to do it. It's gonna take Biden and Congress to vote for the infrastructure bill, vote for the reconstruction bill, and really support the $5 billion so that we can give people the tools that they need to do this work and change our lives.
In that situation, that's a tough situation, right? Because we deal with it all the time. If you live in the hood or you live in the area, and you do own a gun, you don't necessarily own that gun to commit a crime.
Correct.
You own that gun to usually protect yourself. But then it's like, well, what do? Do you walk down your neighborhood and not have anything and could get hit over your head? Or,
right.
But if you get caught with that gun in New York, you got to serve 3 years.
Yeah.
So what is the line? What is the answer for that? Do we have one?
I would love for them to create now, and they do have some alternatives to incarceration. There's certain cases that we can look at that we could work with those folks. The New York City Crisis Management System has sites all over the 5 boroughs. And so we have the ability to work with those individuals and help transfer the mindset of carrying that gun, right? But we also got to make our communities safe. We got to make our communities safe. And this is not an accident, a trick. Like when Corona happened, things changed, right? People couldn't go outside. Guns came into our community overwhelmingly. People lost their job, people lost their family, people lost their ways to make a living, and then they were locked inside in households that they weren't meant to be locked inside all day, all night together. Like, I know anybody locked inside with me is gonna come out crazy, right? Because I'm just not a normal person, right? And that's not nothing against me, it's just
It's hard for everyone.
Yeah, I'm not for everyone to be with all day. But that happened, right? And there was no place, therapy centers in our community. And even when we pull up with the therapy, people, I don't want to do that.
And imagine if you don't have a backyard even.
Right.
and
You in
live
the
a building.
projects. You
Yeah.
all on top of
Tenements.
each other with roaches and rats and mice. Like, come on, you're going to turn toxic. You're going to turn toxic. You're going to start drinking more. You see more accidents now. You see more domestic violence. You see more suicide. Like, and so we have to be true. It's like we got to be true of our problem, right? This is a disease. Violence is a disease, and we have to help our people heal. It's a new governor now, so I hope she steps in, and he called for a state of emergency. Let's act like it's a state of emergency and help our people heal.
Is therapy part of, the AOH program?
Oh, definitely. I went to mental health counseling proudly for 8 years because I had a professional problem. They have a $50 billion system built to hold me. That's professional. They got staff, they're paying $80, $90, $100,000 a year to hold me. Those are professionals. They got bars and they got all these other stuff that they do. They're spending a lot of money to hold me because it's a professional problem. So why do I think I don't have a professional issue? So I wouldn't got a professional counselor.
real.
You know what I'm saying? Because I recognize that I got a problem and I can't fix it by myself. So I went to counseling. I got my therapy. When I came home, I kept my counseling. I got out. The first thing I did was find a counselor. And I started kept going. Why quit what works? So Academy of Hope, we definitely focus on therapy, on counseling, on family reunification. We want to keep the families connected.
Yeah.
And we bring in brothers from Atlanta. We bring in brothers from California who are entrepreneurs, who are like, because you got to find a living.
Yeah.
So I got brothers from Atlanta, like Dave Shands, who has a company. CEO Matty J. Wall Street, who was here a couple weeks ago. That's my dude. You know what I'm saying? He wants to come in and build with the brothers and teach them ways that they can make money. You know what I'm saying? So all these brothers who are doing great entrepreneurs, we need to merge them. They ain't no like they're over there, we're over here. You know what I'm saying? Brothers inside are well receiving of the brothers outside who are doing well. And they're not trying to rob them. They want to learn from them.
Does Academy of Hope help once somebody is released?
Short answer, we've been doing street work for years, for 21 years. The Academy of Hope has a street component for kids where we help them not go to jail. And when I met with the director of South Carolina, one of his things was he wanted to stop kids from going. So we go to the alternative schools, we go to the houses of corrections, we go to the projects, and we talk to kids on the front end. But the bigger thing is the guys in the program designed it. The guys in the program do the outreach. We facilitate them. They know better. These are their little brothers and sisters. I'm not from South Carolina. I'm saying they from Charleston, they from Columbia, they from Greenville, they from all over the city, over the state. So we have them talk to their own people. I don't try to get in front of people. I always say, I won't talk for you. I'll teach you, but I won't talk for you.
How do you think the nature versus nurture theory applies in prison? I want to hear both of y'all.
Nature versus nurture. We need to be nurtured. Let's keep it 100. All that tough guy stuff didn't work. The don't cry stuff didn't work. So you need to be nurtured at one level. I sit with brothers and I have real conversations. And then the nature part, the environment is everything. I got a brother named Life, and he says in our video, like, the environment changes the person before the person changes the environment. That's an Inky Johnson quote. And we created an environment that's peaceful, that you can come out your cell and not have to worry about getting stabbed every single moment. There's not going to be riots popped off. We train and create an environment fed into the people. Because they're good people. They're no different than me. I'm saying they're no different than you. They probably some of your cousins in there.
I'm sure. I definitely got one in there.
We got a couple of your cousins up there, I'm sure, but we change the environment first and let the environment change the person. So it's not an Andre thing. I just understand what took it for me to change. And I create that environment for them.
Yeah.
What do you think, Queen?
I agree with what he's saying, and we extend it to the outside. Like a lot of the brothers who I worked with in the prison, I employed them once they came out, and they found a way to fit into one of the sites in New York City. And then if they can't work in a site, then they do consultant work with us, or we work with them on, re-entering into society, definitely. I think that a lot of people put up you put out that mask, and you wear that mask so good that you think it's normal. And they need to be nurtured in a way that they can take off their mask and be comfortable with their own life. A lot of people are not comfortable with their life because they never lived their life. They were just like a machine going through, like a rat in a cage, running. And so when you make the environment a space where they can, really breathe, like that's why we do the lavender, and the prison attacks your sensory deprivation, right? That's the whole purpose. And so you want to build back their sense of the census period.
I came out of Boston, Massachusetts, born and raised, and we started most of the programs you got countrywide, nationwide, started in Boston, and because we have Harvard there, MIT there, all the colleges, we're surrounded a college town. So my interns, I had a program were from Harvard. My interns were from MIT. So we have like the best and the brightest students coming to help us with our programs, and we just built tons of awesome programs and tons of stuff, and you learn differently. There's two things. There's helping people, then there's the business of helping people. Most people don't understand the business of helping people. They just know how to help somebody. There's the church, and then there's the business of church.
Break that down.
The business of helping people. If I said to you, I'm going to give you $1 million, Envy, I want you to do a program. What do I get for my $1 million? You don't speak spreadsheet. I'm going to get 3 vans, 2 sites, 5 staff, overtime. I mean, we start speaking spreadsheet. When I sit down with governors and mayors and the mayor and the president, whoever, I speak spreadsheet. If you can't speak spreadsheet, you ain't getting no money.
They be like, yo, I'm gonna go there, you know what, I'm gonna help my peoples,
I start talking spreadsheet 2.3 seconds when it's a business conversation. Because if you can't talk spreadsheet, then you can't govern $3, $4, $5 million. I've done millions of dollars in deals because I can not just do the work, I can articulate the work, and I can sit down and discuss the work. And that's the training that I got. I didn't pick this up on my own. This is a training that I got on how to do accounting, how to do training, how to do interviewing, how to do the work, how to do measurements, how to do outcomes. And they train me in this, and I train other people in you have to speak spreadsheet if you want to be in control of the business. Yeah. So when I sit down with the director of corrections, he has a $300 million business. If I sit down with the director of this, he has a $400 million business. He's not trying to hear, I'm going to make it better. I have to say how it's going to work, when it's going to work, and what are the pitfalls, and what's my plan for the pitfalls. And most people don't speak spreadsheet.
How can people help the cause? Like, how can people come and say, I want to help, I want to be a part of it. I can't go into jails with you, I got a 9 to 5, I can't stay there, but I want to help. How can you, what do you advise people to help?
I always say help your own first. Don't jump over your own and go save somebody else's. Don't do that. So wherever you are, serve in your community. Before I have you rush to the prison that I'm in or the program that we're in, your community needs your help. Yeah. So let me help you help yours. And that makes it better for all of us. So I don't need everybody rushing to the prison. We got the prison piece. Everybody ain't built to work in prison.
Right.
So if you're from a certain borough or a certain neighborhood, let us help you right there. There's an elementary school near you somewhere. Yeah. There's a middle school near you. There's a girls program near you. Oftentimes, girls just get completely overlooked. Yeah. We've been sitting here for 25 minutes. Nobody's mentioned girls. Girls have it 10 times worse than boys with the trauma, the sexual assault, and the esteem issues. So helping girls is a mandatory and a must. And again, that's something that I was taught early on in my training. My boss used to say, girls programs. I'm like, I don't know nothing about being a girl. They need help too.
Yeah.
And so I was trained in how to do girls programming as well as women's programming. And I want to give a shout out, all the sisters need help. It can't just be secondary.
That is so true. I did a town hall with all these young high school girls, and they were talking about the Me Too movement and all the things that they've been through. And when I tell you, like, everybody in that room has had, and it was like 75 girls, but there was no cameras. It was just a conversation. And everybody ended up crying. And, you know, like one girl was talking about getting off the school bus and the guys would, like, you know, grab her ass, and the other girls would laugh at her and call her a hoe. And it would happen every single day, but nobody would step up to help. And it was kind of like an ongoing thing, and that's traumatizing. Or even like one girl said her dad's friend would drive her to school, and then one day she was alone with him and he started touching her leg. She didn't want to tell her dad because she didn't want her dad to beat him up because that was his only friend. Just all kinds of things that girls go through, and they have to internalize that. And then they get made fun of for it, and they have nobody to talk to.
I always say, when I first started, I helped black boys because that's what I understood and that's what I was. Then I got to the point now, I started helping Spanish kids, white kids. I've been in 30 countries. I've worked in Africa, I've worked in all over the world. And I ask people now, who do you help? And they say, I'm gonna help black boys. I say, you help people or do you help black folks? I help people. Now, I'm pro-black all day, but if you come to me, I help people. That's my goal, whether it's woman, man, child, white, black, Spanish, Asian, I help people.
Does Academy of Hope, is it eligible for, say, government contracts? You know how people can get an MWBE and then the government will contract out?
All our contracts are directly with the Department of Corrections or House Corrections. So, yes, we get contracts.
Okay.
Because we speak business, spreadsheet.
What's the when you go back to your girls, the girls thing, all of those girls are under 18 that you're talking about. And so when you look at a lot of the situations that are happening in community, most of them are centered around a girl.
Right.
Because if you feel violated, you're going to violate somebody else. And, you know, if we help transform the life of young girls, we can definitely transform the lives of young men. Because you do what you do to get the attention of that woman.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
I was like,
You know.
I felt like young boys needed to hear some of those conversations to see how these girls feel. One girl got kicked out of her house because her sister's boyfriend raped her, and she got pregnant, and they didn't believe her. And she had the baby. They took the baby from her, and now she's homeless.
There's definitely a need, a drastic need to help young sisters because we want queens. We got to build them early.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when I was in 6th grade, I'm chasing girls around because they were cute because that's what I was taught. And that's what you do. All throughout life, it's like you go to the club, you go here. It's all about cute girls. I couldn't imagine being a cute girl. And every day somebody wants to kiss me or wants to do this to me or do that to me. From the time you're who knows how old.
And then people are passing judgment on you, too, for things that you feel like you're being violated for, but then you're getting called out your name.
I would say to any young sisters or older sisters who are hearing this, whatever you've been through, and you've been through some stuff, your past doesn't define your future.
Right.
Your
And it's a
past does
story
not
to help
define it.
somebody through. It's a story to help somebody through as well.
And
you know.
support each other. If you see another girl going through something, don't put her down. Just try to be supportive. Do whatever you can and understand you can have those conversations with each other. You don't have to internalize it, but be supportive of your sisters.
Like, they got brothers who go to schools. E.T. goes to schools all the time. Jeremy Anderson goes to school. They go in and they do I can go to a school I've been great at. I'm better in prison. E.T. and Jeremy, they crush schools. So I let them do that. That's their lane. They crush that. So I'm not trying to compete. This can't be in competition. Do what
Right.
you do well and subcontract the rest. So E.T. and Jeremy Anderson, they crush schools. You know what I'm saying? These other brothers are crushing marketing. Yeah, I'm not trying to start a radio show. Drop me in a prison. I feel comfortable. I'm going to build with my people, and I'm going to help them be better.
There you go.
What's
I'm gonna
the-
pass
But
them
if you did start one, we would support it.
Thank you.
What's the South Carolina connection, Dre?
The South Carolina connection, none.
Just
None.
the woman that
Where did-
approached you.
They approached me at a conference in Minneapolis, and they were like, hey, we just had a riot. You're the guy that can fix it. And I've been there almost 3 years now.
Wow. Has anybody else offered wanted the program? Any other
I
programs?
have the program. It's coming to Massachusetts. It's coming to. We started tomorrow, Wednesday in Richmond, Virginia. We're going to Hampton, Virginia. We're going to Henrico, Virginia. We're going to Texas. It's going places. But I need people who want to do the work. I mean, it can't all be this team that we got. We need brothers who've come home. We hire veterans. Half our staff are veterans because I believe it's just not enough to teach someone to get a job and to be better. You got to love the country. We very rarely talk about loving this country, even though we ain't going no place. You know what I'm saying? I've been to plenty of places in the world. I'm not giving up my passport. I'm staying right here. And so we bring the veterans in who, A, ain't scared, and B, teach civic pride.
Well, give them the website so they can, look it up,
Absolutely.
look up more information.
The website is andrenorman.com.
Okay.
It's literally, matter of fact, I just had a sister, just because I was coming on, a sister from Virginia, Tina, she rebuilt my whole site. I'm like, I'm going to the
Make
Breakfast
sure it's
Club.
all right.
I'm like, listen, she stayed up all night last night.
I know that's right.
Shout out to
Speaking
Tina.
of spreadsheets.
Tina Bonner last night stayed up to 3 o'clock in the morning redoing the site that you're going to
Well,
see.
give it to him again.
And that's love and support that people can
Yes.
offer if they're not going in the prisons. Like you
Yeah.
said, there's other ways that
you
you
can,
can.
you can buy my book, send it to somebody, or whatever. I give it
Ambassador
away.
of Hope.
That's right.
And give them
So,
Life Camp's info, Ms. Ford, Queen Ford.
Andre Norman.
AndreNorman.com or at
We
Andre
here to
Norman on
support
IG.
this work today.
No,
That's
we
what we here.
listen. We got together because I need her to make money. Because I
That's
watched
so
a
big.
brother die when I first came home. He was outreach worker for 30 years.
Yeah.
And his family couldn't afford to bury him. I said, that ain't gonna be me. They were literally begging the mayor for money to bury this man after he did 30 years of work in the street.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa. And I was him 30 years prior. I'm like, that ain't gonna be me.
Right.
I'm gonna learn the money side. Because there's a lot of people doing the business and a handful of us doing the work. So I need her to be financially set so when she steps away, that she's not forgotten and she can take care of herself.
Yeah, the business of help. I like that because I think a lot of people think that the help is free, but you got to support people doing the
And then
work.
people get mad sometimes if you're doing this work and you're financially taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
But we need you to be mentally,
Which is stupid.
mentally strong. Also have a place to live and feel
right.
set and secure, just like anybody should be.
My son is 2 years removed from going to Columbia, and Columbia is not free
Right.
at all. know what I'm saying, at all. So I got to pay for that. I got to pay for an apartment in New York. I got to pay for him to go to Columbia. And he just went to Ibiza last week. My son said, Dad, I want to go to Ibiza. So we bought him a plane ticket. We sent him to Ibiza.
You should be able to do that for
At
us.
first I said, where's Ibiza? Because I didn't know. I was like, go front. It's also a little island off the coast of Spain. My son's been over 30 countries, and he's 16. That's what we want for their kids.
Yeah.
I came from the
That's what we
penitentiary.
want for all
Now
kids.
my son is living his life. And we want other people, just because you've been in this space doesn't mean your kids can't do that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's a key point. That's a key point. We get ready to take some kids to Africa in a couple of months with Queen Afua.
That's
Oh,
dope.
salute Queen of Four.
Yes, there's some transformational stuff.
Going to
But
Ghana?
They going to Ghana.
They call me Kofi in Ghana. I've been there so many times, they gave me my Ghanaian name.
Wow.
Kofi, the day and week you were born.
Wow.
You got to
Right.
expose kids. You got to give them the opportunity to know that there's more to the world than just what they see every day. And a lot of, people that make decisions, Congress people, senators, elected officials, they got a job. And I want you to understand that you also need help. You need to talk to us and allow us to brief you on the importance of why you need to vote for certain bills, why you need to take the ARP money and use it for violence prevention, use it for putting programs like this in the prisons, use it for giving young people access to more than what they have, because the money is there. The ARP money is there. Use it for what it's for. It's for our young people so that they can see something differently. So this violence could really stop. Life Camp Inc. Is our website. You can check us out on all social media.
What's Pieces of Lifestyle?
That's who we are. That's our mantra.
Oh, got you.
So
Okay.
but the organization official name is Life Camp Inc. So,
Life Camp Inc.
But Pieces
Erica
of Lifestyle
Ford.
is how we live, how we walk, how we talk.
That's where they go to donate because them kids in Africa gonna have to eat.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And it costs like $10,000 a kid to go. So.
Damn.
So, Charlamagne, I need you to give a shout out to the brothers in South Carolina and Academy of Hope, man, because they were like, you got to holler at our homie, man. So I'm here on behalf of them.
Yo, anything I can do to help Academy of Hope, let me know.
Definitely.
Let me know.
Come through.
Absolutely, I'll pull up.
I'm saying. I would love, we can do a show from the penitentiary.
That'd be dope.
I mean, we just pack all them up. Let's go down south. And we can
go.
do this. Since you do
Who
it
will
right
let
inside
us
the
do it?
penitentiary.
Lee's will let us do it?
We can work it out.
As long
Okay,
as they got
okay.
Wi-Fi, we can do it.
We can work it out.
All right. Erica
Yeah,
Ford,
boss.
Andre Norman. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.